Greetings, everyone. Tonight I wanted to talk about wolf in sheep's clothing. We have all encountered them. Deception is their game. They want you to think they are a certain way. And then little by little, the mask comes off. Anything that's not built in truth cannot sustain itself. And that's why it is important to always pay attention, be aware of your surroundings, don't be overly vigilant, but what's that old saying? When people show you who they are, believe them. I believe Maya Angelou had said that. I don't know if she was the first person to say that, but you have to see if a person's actions line up with what they are portraying themselves to be. And that includes yourself, by the way. I'm always trying my best to do self-reflection. Hold on. And I always say it, I'm not perfect. I always say that again and again. If you're able to understand what a person's motivation is, it will help you make better choices about who you allow yourself to be around. And again, you guys know I 100% believe in the law of attraction. And I believe Dr. Michael Beckwith said it best. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. Okay, so Dr. Reverend Michael Beckwith, 15 names, stated that the law of gravity, he compared the law of gravity to the law of attraction. He said it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. When you throw the ball in the air, it's going to hit the ground. And that's how strongly I believe in law of attraction. But again, if you have a good heart, if you're kind and sweet, compassionate, empathic, I identify with all that, by the way. You are always going to attract predators. It's unfortunate. So a thought vibration, or even it doesn't have to be a thought, it might be a vibrational field, like flowers growing is a very high vibration. A cat purring is a very high vibration. A little toddler playing is a high vibration. They don't have to speak a word. Animals just naturally operate on a higher vibrational field. But in our matrix, and I just mean like our grid system, our, the machine world. I've talked about, I've explained how I feel about and what I believe the machine world is. Just very, very basic concept. It's not, I don't go too deep into it, but in order for predators to feed, they need food. You could look at it as an energy vampire. You could look at it as a wolf in sheep's clothing, narcissist, psychopath, whatever it is. I understand that people have this, unless you've dulled it out and nullified your, what's that called, the fight or flight response. Cults do it. Abusive relationships will do it. Unless you've dulled that out, people usually can sense danger. Especially mothers, and as well, good fathers. You just can feel the danger, impending danger. Soldiers talk about it. And the more that you hone your intuitive abilities, and in some circles they call it clairvoyance, claircognizance, all the clairs. You will be able to sense a predatory person. They always slip up eventually. And so many times it breaks our heart because you thought a person was a certain way. And once again, you're disappointed. But, again, it doesn't mean to give up on friendships or romance or loving. But it makes it easier to put walls up. It's important not to do that too much. I'm working on it myself. I got a lot on my plate right now. When I go in to get my immunotherapy infusion, I get almost like a celebrity welcome. And I don't say that out of arrogance. It's because I know how to embrace positive thinking, technically, live in a higher vibration, higher vibratory field. I like to bring little gifts for people, fun little things to make the other cancer patients smile. The ones that are not crabby pants. But when you are around a wolf that is covered in darkness, they want to take your light. It can be all kinds of reasons. It usually stems from some type of insecurity within themselves. It can be just straight up jealousy. It can be just 100% being an insecure person. It could be anger that you as a wolf, are not able to control another person. Because you all know nobody's going to control me. You all know that, right? There's so many reasons for it. And again, it's always, you all know I'm going through something. I can't get into details, but it's always such a disappointment. And I was thinking about it the other day. I think in many ways I always held up the standard of love and generosity and kindness of my mother to be within any friend I made. There's a name for it. Like, I think a lot of people talk about daughters that are in very healthy families, which you guys can, for me, you could skip all that because there was really nothing, a lot of healthiness there. But if a daughter came from a healthy family, she's always trying to find a romantic partner, a man that's like her father. And I believe it's the same way with a young man who's looking for or it could be an older man, it doesn't matter what the age is. But if you're looking for a healthy partner, and I'm talking about a man looking for a woman, I don't know how that would equate in the gay world, but I think there'd be a lot of similarities there. You're just trying to duplicate the love and kindness and generosity that you experienced as a child into the person that you pair up with. And clearly breast cancer put a lot of, I just try not to talk about it too much because I'm doing the best that I can, but it's just, I've been through so much. It's like the last 7 or 8 years, probably almost 10 years, have been trauma after trauma after trauma, whether it's a health issue, one surgery after another, or my hip replacement, getting fired from a job or whatever it was, just trauma after trauma after trauma. And before I got my diagnosis, I'm like, time to find a husband. Karma had other ideas, I guess. I believe in karma, but I don't believe in it the same way everyone else does. Because I'm not like everyone else, nor do I want to be. But, I guess it's better for you to be able to pinpoint, discern, or know that someone is a wolf in sheep's clothing than to continue on and think this person has your best interest when you know they don't. And honestly, at the end of the day, the reasoning doesn't matter. They always slip up. They say something that demonstrates no empathy. They try to force you to do something that you, with your free will, don't want to do. It's the other thing. Gaslight you. I'm trying to think of the 5 main characteristics of narcissism that Dr. Ramani talks about all the time. But it's always involving those kinds of things. And honestly, if you ever find yourself really confused around a person, you should really look into that. If they're saying really messed up things, and you're just sitting there like, what the F did they just say? It's a real red flag. They always reveal themselves. I think something that I've learned is it's really better to be around people that have very similar values to you. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. But you have to kind of stand for the same things. I learned that many years ago when I was working as a fitness instructor. One of my favorite jobs, by the way. At a gym. Really great people. Don't get me wrong. Amazing bunch of people. But I found that later what was bothering me so much is our values didn't line up. And that's always a problem. And also, if you get a feeling around a person that is trying to, well, let's see, I just thought of two things. One, dominate you, or assert their superiority, you should run. And I say this all the time. I say this all the time. And I forgot, just like that. When you see the red flags, you have to pay attention. And wouldn't you rather learn right away? Like, say if you're dating someone and you're like seeing these really weird oddball behaviors, wouldn't you far rather figure it out before you actually got married and spent a whole bundle of money, had children with them, than way down the line? I mean, if in the perfect world, you guys, we all know we're not living in a perfect world. But again, I was going to say, it's important to be around people that have the same values as you do. But I think in a lot of ways you should have similar beliefs. Like, this is a hard one. You don't have to have it. Now, see, this gets really deep. I was listening to a story the other day of a near-death experience. I've been watching a lot of videos on these. And I believe this woman was like Caribbean, but she was living abroad. She was living in the UK. And then her husband moved to the United States. Anyways, very interesting story. She had a near-death experience. And she's very Christian. But she befriended this amazing, beautiful soul, this Hindu woman. Stayed with her in the hospital when it was I don't know if you want to call it a stillbirth, but she had a baby in her tummy that had passed, and it was back in the 60s. And this amazing, beautiful soul she stayed with her for the first few days when she was in the hospital. She didn't even know her. And then came to visit her every day in the hospital when she was on her lunch break. And this lady who's explaining the story was saying that they became very good friends, and they agreed right away to never talk about religion. So it can work. You can make friendships with people that have different belief systems than you. It really, truly just depends on the person. That's why I don't partake in any polarized anything. I don't participate in politics, religion, mass media, mainstream sports. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Well, those are the main ones that I can think of right now off the top of my head. It's that old thing, divide and conquer. But the point I'm trying to make about wolves in sheep's clothing. Pay attention to how a person treats you. If they start off like really, really nice and everything's like hunky-dory for a long time, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they just start acting funny. Not the same. I mean, unless you discern there's just something else going on with them that's not related to you. But just really watch it. Because a person's character shouldn't change. Unless it's an act. You understand what I'm saying? I think in the next, let's see, I believe in the next 6 to 8 months, things are really going to change for me in a positive way. Survival is key right now. I mean, truly, my main goal right now is to take the best care of myself that I can, and it's working. My blood pressure was 104/78. I've already, and I mean, I'm Gen Xer. I'm not a young kid. And this I did during me going through chemo, radiation, and a mastectomy. So tell me I don't have discipline. And that's another thing too. I even noticed this when I did a lot of fitness. And I'm 100% not as in good of shape as I used to be. And I hope at some point I can increase this. Create a new kind of being in shape. Because it's pretty painful to not be able to really do the things I used to do. I did the burpees, I did the mountain climbers, all of that. But what I noticed then, and you might, I don't know, I noticed you didn't tend, and in my experience, I didn't tend to meet very profound or deep thinking people in the fitness world. I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep it real. I met some good people, but you weren't going to have like a big philosophical conversation with them. And honestly, that even happened at the college I had gone to. Once in a while. Sometimes you met some really amazing thinkers. That was great. I love people who think for themselves and read and expand their minds, But the point I was making with that is that it's important. Okay, I don't know how to say this with it. It sounds arrogant when I say it like this. But there's some truth to it. You have to be around people that are on your same level. Whether it's financially, and I'm not a wealthy person, you guys know that. Whether it's financially, whether it's intellectually, whether it's philosophically, and what I mean by that is, can you have a really deep conversation with someone? Can you talk about the nebulas, the stars, the conspiracies in the world, or whatever it is, without it being a big argument? Because if you're around a person who everything's an argument, that's a problem. That's not an open-minded person. There's got to be some similarities. And you should be able to grow from the people that you're around. I mean, I believe it's a beautiful thing when we can respect each other's right or reason to believe the way you want to believe. That's called that's a higher level of intellect. It's having more of an open mind. I mean, all of us could agree that, and I don't participate in any of it. And so I'm not going to get into a conversation about the most recent mass media and, in my opinion, propaganda. But see, some people don't have they can't, there's no other way to say it. They can't figure it out. So I'm not there to teach anyone. And I just feel like also I can respect, your thoughts about something, or and this has to do with the wolf. So I can respect your thoughts and fears about something. And that's where it ends. Do you understand? Like, I don't have to agree with you. I don't even have to watch the news. That's why we're all different people. And, well, I mean, without getting too deep into everything about why our planet is always constantly at war, I don't want to go into all that. But that alone should tell people something. That a lot of these leaders have justifications for people sacrificing their lives in these wars. How could anyone ever justify that? You know what I mean? In all these heinous, cruel, low vibrational things. So, yeah, wolf in sheep's clothing. And anytime you see someone virtue signaling left and right, I do this, I do that, they're in front of the camera, me, I, something to really keep an eye on. Because the kindest, most generous, loving people don't have to be in front of the camera all the time, telling everyone how great they are. It's not that you can't go on camera doing some things, but there's this saying, I don't even remember where it originated from. I forget exactly how it goes, but what people do when nobody is watching is who they really are. I don't even remember where I heard that. It's a fact. The one that buys a homeless person a coffee when nobody's watching and doesn't have to be on camera to do it, that's who they really are. And I'm not blaming everyone who's on camera doing something kind for doing something bad. I don't mean that. But it's authenticity. And honestly, I feel like in my lifetime, I've been so disappointed when I find that a person is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It does make me want to close down, but I can't do that because I know there's so many more loving, generous, kind, compassionate human beings out in the world. And those are the kind of people I want to be around. I mean, I'm constantly reminded that when I go to the hospital. I mean, honestly, just even when I go out and about. And I don't need validation for myself. I don't know. I kind of went around the world on this, you guys. I hope I kind of stayed centered as far as a wolf in sheep's clothing. But you do have to just keep your eye out. And honestly, if you can figure out and kind of understand what a person's motivation is about something, it tells you everything about them. Peace.